Hey there, little grinderinos. Welcome to today's video. This is the final video in Low Effort October, the video series where I'd put barely any effort into my videos for the entire month of October. What a crazy month October has been, huh? How about that political news that happened? That sure was a crazy news story in the news for this current month of October recently, wasn't it? And since this is the last low effort video, I'm not going to leave my house. I'm not even going to leave my room. I'm not going to go to my set. Here's what I did. I got this lamp. There, that's the most effort I'm going to put in this video is I got this lamp for lighting. What I am going to do is I'm going to tell you 20 things that you can buy to make your FPV life easier. Hit them with the intro. Now these are in no particular order, it's just kind of how they came out of my brain. The Vitreed Fly Tiny Whoop Charger, they're on like version 3 of this thing by now, and this, you have to have this. If you fly Tiny Whoops and you don't own this, then you're a big dummy. This makes charging whoops so easy. What you should do after you get done flying any size Lipo pack is put it on a balance charge, which is like 3.5 per cell or some shit like that, but that's where the cells are happy. You can leave them for months like that. You don't want a really discharged Lipo, and you don't want a fully charged Lipo sitting for months. You want it at a balance charge where the little chemicals are happy. And 1S Tiny Whoop batteries especially, they want to be at their storage charge. If you let them sit for too long, too charged, or not charged enough, they're gonna crap out. You're gonna get like a second of flight time on it. Literally a second, bro. So with this Vitreed Fly, not only can you charge all your little HV Lipos with a USB-C or a wall plug or an XT60 connector, you can also storage charge them, which is very important. So number one product thing that you can buy this list, get the Vitreed Fly, however you say it, Tiny Whoop Charger. You need a bag. You need a bag to put all your drone stuff in. There's a few bags, but this is my favorite bag. The Torvald Urban, I've had this one for a long time. I've had a few other FPV bags. I had one, oh god, I can't remember who made it. I had one and I was in Florida and it fell apart and I had to throw in a dumpster, go to Walmart, and I had to get a camping backpack to get all my stuff home on the plane. That was shitty. But the Torvald Urban bag, as soon as my other piece of crap one broke, I bought this and I've had it ever since. That was probably 5 years ago. I treat all my gear like crap. I just throw it around. I stuff things in it. I don't really give a shit. And it works really well. It has not broken yet. The thing is holding up. It's super solid. I think it was like $100 for me when I got it. Maybe it was 150, something like that. Whatever it was 100% worth it. I definitely recommend all of Torvald's bags. They are high quality, but the Urban one in specific, the one that I have, get that one. You need some tools, right? You need tools for FPV. You can get a lot of driver sets. A lot of them are shit, and they'll strip your screws, they'll strip the heads. You want a good driver set. Or if you're in the field, they make these little things. These things are cool. They're little multi-tools. My only issue with them is most of them have a 2mm and a 1.5mm, but I use 2.5mm screws. On my motors, on my plates, on everything on my quad, I use 2.5 like bucket head ones because those don't ground down on this. If you're skidding, if you're like skidding a lot on the cement, little 2mm kind of like shovel head, I don't know what screws are called, but the little ones will ground down and you have to drill out your freaking screws to get your standoffs out. But if you use the 2.5mm ones, then they won't ground down. Actually, that should be on this list here. This is what number. Number 3.5 is get the 2.5 bucket head screws. Don't get the other ones. But back to number 3, you can get like the skate tool kind with just the 2, or I would recommend just getting a nice set of hex wrenches. Get a nice set. I don't know what a nice set is. I just use bullshit ones, but I regret it. Buy a nice set. Get a 2mm, 1.5, and a 2.5. Tell your loved one for Christmas that's what you want. This I personally use. This is the blue foam. I think iFlight might make it. I don't know who makes it. Maybe it's for Eachine goggles. I don't really give a shit. It's on eBay. Oh, by the way, there's gonna be links to all the products in the description. Some of it's from Amazon, and if that's the only place there's a link, I won't put it because I hate Amazon and nobody should be giving them any money. Blue goggle foam I got on eBay. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere. It fits on the HD0 goggles. It'll probably fit on Fat Sharks, and it definitely fits on the goggles that were made for it. The Eachine ones, I think, I don't know. Did I tell you I really high before I recorded? No effort. This thing, I don't know what it's called. I have written down 20 volt, 5.5, 2.5mm. This one, the homie Werewolf turned me on to. This little dongle makes it so you can use a USB power bank to plug into your goggles to power them so you don't have to use a LiPo. It works really well for him. However, the one that I bought doesn't work. My goggles will turn on, but they stay on the boot screen. I suspect it's not giving them enough power, so I might have got the wrong voltage. Maybe HD0 goggles aren't 20 volts, or maybe I shouldn't have bought the cheapest one that I could find. But if you get the correct voltage and everything for your goggles, like Werewolf did, these things work really well. And I think it's pretty cool because usually I just use a LiPo, and I don't want to do that. I'd much rather just use a power bank to power my goggles if I could because they last forever. It's going to happen one day. You can get a big old 128 gig SD card in your GoPro, but you're going to drive 4 hours to a sick bando, and then you're going to hear the dreaded beeps of SD card full. And then you're going to have to go through it, and you're going to have to decide what you want to erase, what you want to delete, try not to delete your new footage. You should just be carrying extra SD cards with you. It's 2024. Micro SD cards are cheap as shit now. There's no reason to not just pick up a pack of 5 or something like that. Even just get some 64 gigs and get you a little case for it. I have this one. I don't know. Hang on. Is it in my drawer? I had this one, I guess. I have this one. Forevermore gave it to me, and it's really good. It like slides out, and everything stays in it. You know, I may have lost it over the years. I like this one, but it doesn't really matter at all. Just anything that holds your little SD cards. This one's just kind of cool because it has a USB cord already inside of it. But anything that'll hold your extra SD cards, you should have in your flight bag. You should have at least a couple extra SD cards for your goggles, your GoPro, whatever else. Everything takes a micro SD card these days. And like I said, they're cheap, so just pick up a few extra ones, a little case, throw in your flight bag just in case you might need it. This one's free if you have a printer, but you should know somebody at the printer if you don't own a printer. 3D printers are everywhere. I used to just throw my tiny whoops in my bag, just toss it in there with all my other gear like I do everything else, and I'd always be breaking antennas off. I'd be smashing canopies and stuff. I'd be breaking the frame. So I started printing out cases, and nothing breaks now. You really need a little case for your tiny, whether it be a 65 mil, 75 or 85. There are STLs on Thingiverse that you can download, print out, or send to your buddy and make them print out for you. If you do a lot of gorilla whooping, it's kind of invaluable. You really should have a little case for your tiny whoops. Speaking of cases, you have to have a little case for your lipos. I don't care if you're like, no, I don't want to do that. No, you should. You should get a lipo safe bag. A lot of people will use ammo cans at home. If you use an ammo can, make sure it doesn't seal tight. Make sure there's holes in it for it to vent, or the lid is just on loosely like I do. But you should have a lipo safe bag for carrying them around, flying on airplanes, or even storing them in your home. Lipo safe bags are designed to contain the flames and the noxious fumes that come out of a lipo when they do pop. And it can happen, you know what I mean? I'm very careful with my lipos, but I'm still worried about them popping when I'm not home or something. So I keep them in ammo cans and lipo safe bags. You can pick these up fairly cheap, but this is something I wouldn't cheap out on, you know what I mean? Especially if you buy cheap batteries, then buy a decent lipo safe bag. I used a Torvald one. It came with one of my bags. It works fine. I've never had a lipo catch fire inside of it, but I've seen tests. I'll put a clip up if I can find it. Oh wait, no, I'm not even gonna look. It's No Effort November. Oh fuck. Oh yeah, no, it's No Effort October. I'm not gonna look for the clip, but there's a clip somewhere. You go look for it. They do pretty well though. They'll contain the flames, you know what I mean, and not burn your damn house down. So get a lipo safe bag. While we're on the topic of batteries, I'm going to say stop using parallel boards, stop using all those stupid things. Just get a charger that has multiple ports. It is much, much safer. You don't want to mess around with lipos. So I've always used just a charger that has multiple ports, so I could do 2 batteries at a time, put that thing on 4 amps. You know, it takes like 10 to 15 minutes per battery. That's not too long when you're doing multiples at a time. I personally use a D6 Duo Mini or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a mini version that does 2 of them. It works fine. You can get the larger version. I don't know what the difference is. They're fantastic chargers. I don't know who makes them originally, but a lot of companies just put their brand on it and stuff. So just look up like D6 Duo and get one of those chargers, or any charger with multiple ports. What the hell are we at? Number what? What are we at? 10? Oh yeah, number 10. Hey, we're halfway there. Hey, you want your footage to look creamy? You want some creamy GoPro juicy footage? Oh, fuck, my pizza's done. Shit. You know, some FPV videos look like, this looks like a shitty camera, and some of them look really professional with nice motion blur and everything. Well, a lot of times they're using an ND filter. An ND filter blocks the amount of light that's coming into your camera, so you can open up the shutter wider. And this on an FPV drone gives you super juicy, creamy motion blur. Camera Butter makes FPV specific ND filters. A lot of companies make them, but I like Camera Butter. I'm gonna put a link to them in the description. You should go check out the Camera Butter ND filters. They make them for all GoPros. If you haven't messed with an ND filter yet, try it out. It'll make your videos look a lot better. This thing has saved my ass several times. I'd like this, the Speedy B dongle. I think they're also on like version 3 at this point. I have the V1. But if you don't want to bring a laptop to the field, or you don't have a laptop, you can just download the Speedy B app, I forgot what it was called, and use this little dongle to connect it to your flight controller, and then you can do pretty much any settings in beta flight through your phone in the field. I think they have like a Bluetooth adapter too. I'm not sure. I'll put it here if they do. Oh, they do, sick. But I've definitely gone out to fly only to realize that I forgot to set my rates or something on a new build. And thankfully, the Speedy B dongle saved the day. You don't need a big stick. You're gonna get caught in trees a lot. You're gonna get your drone caught in trees, Climbing trees is scary. So if you just get one of these painter poles, you can get them for like 20 bucks at Home Depot, the little telescoping ones. You can use that and you can get an extra like, what, 8 to 16 foot reach to kind of jiggle your drone out of a tree if you need to. Also, if you want to get into graffiti, you can do some sweet rollers with them too. You're going to get stuck in a tree. If you're new to FPV and you have a vehicle, put something in your vehicle, either a piece of rope you can tie a rock or some trash to, or a painter's pole so you can get your drone out of the tree. Once you get your drone out of the tree, you're going to need to be able to repair it, and a TS100 soldering iron is one of the best ones I've ever used. Some people spend hundreds of dollars on Hacko stations and stuff, but honestly, if you're just doing FPV and like light soldering, that's completely needless. TS100 is like 40-50 bucks at this point. With custom firmware, it heats up super fast. You can play single line Tetris on it, and it works super well. I'm on my third one. I broke one of them, and then I lost my second one, and now I have a third one. It's the only soldering iron that I want to use. It's the only one that I've owned my entire FPV career. If you're using some janky ass one, or you're using some overcomplicated soldering station setup, throw it in the trash. Give it away. Give it away or throw it in the trash and just get a TS100. If you're going to stick in this hobby for a while, you're going to need a 3D printer. One of the tips earlier was the 3D printed whoop case. And if you had a 3D printer, you could just have printed that out yourself in the time that it took me to come to this tip. They're super handy. Like everything in FPV is 3D printed. If you don't have one, you should buy one. I personally like the bamboo ones. I don't advocate for any company. They're all probably super shitty, but you kind of need a 3D printer if you're a hobbyist. And the bamboo ones are absolutely the easiest to use. I have the, what is it, A1? What are you, an X1? A1. I have the A1 Mini without the AMS, so it cost me like $150, and they just work. You just load the thing, you put filament, and they just work. Definitely consider getting a 3D printer. They're super cheap now, and they work super well. It's a fantastic time to pick up your first one. I have written down the HD0 monitor for this tip. The HD0 monitor is hands down the best one. It does HD0 and analog. It automatically knows what signal is coming into the monitor. But really, you can get any monitor if you fly analog. This is just pretty much the only HD0 one, but if you and your homies fly analog, get an analog monitor. It makes things a lot funner. If you fly in a group, you can hand people your monitors, be like, yo, bro, watch me dive this thing real quick. You know what I mean? If you're at a race, you can watch other races. If you take your family out with you while you fly, it's a really easy way for them to be able to watch you fly. You just turn the monitor on, hand it to them. And also the HD0 one and a few others take a micro SD card. So for some reason your Goggle data gets corrupted, you'll have a backup source of the recording of your flight. I just think they're really fun and they're handy. I've always had a little monitor, from the little watch ones to handheld ones or whatever. And I have the HD0 one because they sent it to me to review. And I love it. It's awesome. I recently loaned it to the homie Randy so she could take it to an FPV race down in Florida. And they're super good for group stuff, you know, like if you do a bunch of events, if you're going to something, pick one up. That way you can save your Goggle battery and you can still watch everybody else fly. Speaking of flying, you want good video? You want to be able to see what you're doing? Get True RC antennas. This isn't going to be a long tip. Buy True RC antennas. True RC Canada. They are the best antennas. Don't buy anybody else's antennas. There was a company called VAS, VAS. They're fucking pieces of shit. The owner's a big old transphobe, homophobic fucking asshole, so fuck him. True RC, lovely people, and they also make the best antennas in the game. Don't buy any other ones. Buy True RC antennas. I like listening to music a lot when I fly. I don't like putting headphones in though. It's a little bit too much, but I will put a Bluetooth speaker down by my feet or even just my phone if I don't have my speaker with me. And I swear, dude, it gives you way more flow. If you haven't flown to music, you definitely need to try it. It puts me in the mindset, you know, I'm like, you kind of fly to the music a little bit. It kind of gets to you, you know? Definitely try flying to music if you haven't. And if you liked it, pick up a little Bluetooth speaker that you can take around with you while you fly. Headphones might, you know, not let you be super aware of your surroundings, which is kind of sketchy. But also for me, I feel like it was a little overwhelming. Whereas a Bluetooth speaker, I can still hear all the ambient sounds and stuff. I can control the volume a little bit better to hear things. And it really does help, man. It helps you have a good time and fly better, I swear. I said earlier you need some good drivers, you know, for unscrewing your screws and things, but a good prop wrench is equally as important. And by good prop wrench, I mean not just some little keychain thing, not something that has a metal handle. You want a good, cushy driver. But just find you a good prop wrench that feels good on the hand because you're going to be using it a lot. You're going to have props that are stuck on. You're going to be using it every time you fly because you crash a lot because you suck. If you do end up crashing a lot and you don't have like a beeper or anything on your quad, fly high LEDs are a fantastic choice. I like to leave some of my quads stealth, but I also like to make some of them blingin'. And the blingin' ones, I like to use a fly high LEDs just because they're super bright. They're super easy to put on. If you've seen a quad with like a cool LED setup, they're probably the fly high LEDs. There isn't a whole lot to say about it, but if you crash at nighttime, you'll be able to see the LEDs unless your battery comes unplugged. All right, last but not least, this is actually very, very important in FPV. If you're going to be flying drones long term, you should get a gaming PC. You kind of have to buy a gaming PC. You're going to want to play Sims. You're going to make friends that play first-person shooters. You're going to want to have Betaflight run on something super fast. You really should just resign to the fact right now that you need to buy a gaming PC. Laptops or whatever, get you a big chunky desktop, put a 5090 or whatever the hell the kids are on now in it, put some Ultra Arctic Winter. I don't know much about PCs, but I do know I didn't have one, and then I got one, and now I play all kinds of cool video games on it, and Betaflight runs really fast. Oh yeah, I also edit videos on it like every single, yeah, if you edit videos, you want one too, I guess. But no, if you just fly drones, buy a gaming PC. I fucking hate this video. Number 21, sign up to my Patreon. Number 22, go watch this video. That's all. I promise next time will be better. This was the worst video I've ever made. But guess what? Low effort October is finished. That was it. That was it. Now, oh fuck. Now I have to try hard.